Dan,
Lauren, Chris, Ann,
Dick,
Rudy, Amber, Riley, Ellie,
Dave.
Okay, so we all know what this is, right? It's a straw. We see them every day. They're all around us. But what we don't know, or probably don't know, is how harmful they can be. So last week, I ran an experiment. And in this experiment, I went about my life as normal. And I counted up how many straws I used in a day. So I started off my day, and I went, and I used my reusable cup because, go environment. And in that cup, I had a plastic straw. I took that cup, hopped in my car, and I drove to the local closest coffee shop. And there I picked up a nice coffee with a plastic straw. I went about my day, went to lunch, went to work, came home, and then I went out to dinner with my friends. And there I ordered the Sprite that came with a plastic straw. And although that was only 3 straws, and that may not seem like a lot, if I took that and it was my average for every day, in 1 year, I would use 1,095 straws. And according to Laura Park of National Geographic in 2017, 8 million tons of plastic is dumped into our oceans every year. And in the center of this issue, which may not seem like it, is plastic straws. I know personally that I've taken plastic straws for granted. I use them, throw them away. I don't really think twice about where they go or what happens to them, as I'm sure many of you guys do also. But if we continue to use straws like we are now, it will create a huge impact on the environment. By year 2050, by 2050, there will be more plastic than fish in the ocean by weight. And not only with this, but animals will also suffer. And if we reduce the amount of straws that we use, then the amount of plastic and straws that end up in our oceans and our landfills will decrease drastically. So first we will explore why plastic straws are so bad. Second, we will talk about how I think that we will be able to fix this issue. And finally, we will discuss how everybody can help and how you guys can help. So according to Jacobo Prisco in 2018, 500 million straws were thrown away every day. It is the 6th most common type of litter, and 35,000 straws are averaged to be used in one person's lifetime. And unfortunately, most of these straws that are thrown away end up in our waterways. 71% of seabirds and 30% of turtles have some sort of plastic within their stomachs. And when they get those plastics inside of them, they have a 50% mortality rate. So how this happens, for example, birds eat krill. Krill eat algae. And when algae decomposes, it produces a type of chemical called dimethyl sulfate. And this is a very pungent compound. And when it is created, the birds can actually sense it, and they will go to where they see algae, because where there's algae, there's krill, which they eat. So birds come, krill's there, they eat them. But unfortunately, just so happens that plastic is one of the best grounds for algae to grow. And so the algae is attached to the plastic. It produces this dimethyl sulfate. And what this dimethyl sulfate does is it triggers the birds and triggers something in their brain to where they know it's feeding time. And when that happens, their threshold of what they will eat and what they're willing to eat reduces drastically. And they will, I guess, kind of eat anything. So they'll come in and, yes, they'll eat krill, but they will also eat this plastic that is present. And not only will it hurt them internally, but it can also hurt them externally. So here's an image of a sea turtle, which is from a video that has gone viral recently, of a sea turtle that has a straw lodged in its nostril. And this is it getting extracted so it could live. Unfortunately, many animals have situations like this, but they weren't able to be saved. And through this, they will suffocate and they will die. And aside from this, when plastics decompose in the ocean, they create what we like to call microplastics. And microplastics are basically just small, crushed up pieces of plastic. And these microplastics leach toxins into the water, and they end up settling at the bottom of the ocean floor. And according to ocean plastic pollution, plastics absorb a dangerous amount of toxins that is around them. And plastic holds 100,000 to 1 million times that of the amount of toxins in the surrounding seawater. And so when it's absorbed into plastic, and the plastic is consumed by an animal, the toxins that were in the plastic go directly into the animal, and thus if we eat that animal, it goes directly into us. So what we are throwing into the ocean comes back full circle onto our plates. So when plastics decompose in the water, they can release their stored toxins, which they have accumulated. And one of those toxins, which you guys may be familiar with, is BPA. And the BPA has a variety of health effects that it can have on you. It can do some pretty nasty stuff. And the toxins that are in the water can either be directly absorbed into those animals, or it can be absorbed into the plastics, which then goes to the animals, which in either way either kills the animal, harms it, or comes back directly to us. So people should reduce their consumption of plastic and plastic straws more specifically. A lot of people are hesitant to eliminate plastic straws from their lives completely. Plastic straws are convenient. We use them every day. We have them in drinks, and they make it a whole lot easier. Plastic straws are free. We get them at most establishments, just handed to us. We don't even have to ask for it. And a lot of people actually need straws to consume beverages. Patients with MS or even children need straws, or it helps them to consume their liquids. But we have alternatives to our plastic straws. We can use metal straws, which are kind of cool. We can use glass straws. We can use even bamboo straws, which we can reuse and wash and bring with us. But if you're looking for an option that is more disposable, where you don't have to carry something around at all times with you, you could use a compostable paper straw. And with that, you can just throw it in the compost, and it will decompose along with your other compostable things. So this topic is very important to me. I'm a biology major, and with that, it's very much in my realm of study. And to see this and see research done on this is heartbreaking for me, and I want to see if there's something that I can do to help. Another reason is that I don't want my children to grow up and have to see just animals suffering and images. And at school, you know, if you were to ever go to the beach, they'd have to dodge around pieces of plastic and make sure that it doesn't interfere with them. But if we reduce the amount of plastic straws we use, it will directly create a cleaner ocean and reduce landfill consumption. If we lived in a world where straw pollution was eradicated, we would have solved a small portion of the ever-growing problem of pollution. There will be less toxins and less dead animals. So one way you guys can help is to obviously reduce your consumption of plastic straws, but you can also purchase and get the reusable straws like the metal straws, bamboo, or paper. Or another way is you could go to a restaurant or something, and when a waiter offers you a plastic straw, you can simply just say no thank you and drink from it straight up. Another way you can help is to spread the word. Is just by telling people how dangerous these plastic straws are, and by keeping people informed, it can help start a chain reaction that will help change the world. Another way you could do it is when at a restaurant, you could encourage them to maybe change their policy to only give out straws when they're explicitly asked for. You know, if somebody says, oh, can I please have a straw with this? You give it to them. But otherwise, don't. It would save so many straws. So companies are starting to catch on. Companies like Starbucks are starting to change away, and they're switching out their plastic straws for lids. It sort of looks like a adult sippy cup sort of a thing, but it gets rid of the straws and helps in that sense. And Disney is also starting to make the change. And by 2019, they were planning to completely get rid of plastic straws and plastic stirrers from their parks around the world, with the exception of Tokyo. So I've decided to stop sucking. I hope you guys do. Thank you.
Hey,